last bit of syntax that I want to take a look at for this lesson is distinct. Distinct will allow us to remove duplicate values. Now, the one thing to keep in mind about distinct that I find throws a lot of people the first time that they see it is that it's only going to throw out rows where the entire row is a duplicate. Now, you want to be very careful about utilizing a distinct statement. Because with a distinct statement, it's going to wind up causing a sorting of the data. Because in order for SQL to figure out what's actually a match, it needs to put the data into an order that's going to make sense for SQL. Let's take a look at how we could use distinct. Previously, we utilized intersect to find all contacts that had placed an order. And that's a perfectly valid way of doing it. Another way that we could do this, however, is by doing a join. So I could say select, and let's say C first name, C last name, C email address, contact C, inner join, sales order header, SOH on C contact ID equals SOH contact ID. Now, when I execute this, you'll notice that I retrieve 31,465 rows. A little bit of insider information here. My contact table is not that big. Here's what's happening. Remember when you do a join, that it's going to wind up matching every single row on one side to, based on the seam, every row that matches on the other side. And if it turns out that one row on one side matches multiple rows on another, it's then going to be returned multiple times. That's my problem. So if we started sorting through all of this, or to prove this, we could say order by, and let's say first name, last name, and email address, you'll notice that we've got duplicated data. That's not what we want. This is where distinct comes into play. Distinct will allow me to eliminate all those duplicated rows. So when I re-execute this, you'll now notice that we're down to only one A. Leonetti. But as I mentioned before, my data must always be sorted. So if I took away this order by statement and I executed my query, take away my highlight there, you're going to notice that even though I don't have an order by, my data is still being sorted. And this is being done by SQL Server because it needs the data in some form of an order so that way it can eliminate duplicated values. So do be very careful about utilizing distinct. There's a handful of different odds and ends of different things that we hadn't yet covered and aggregate functions. We'll see you in the next lesson.